right, let's talk about digging. So hi buddy. So someone's gonna join the video with us. So we're gonna talk about some of the common reasons of why dogs dig and what are some things that we can do to, he's so cute. What are some things we can do to help manage, train, and mitigate this maybe a little bit? So it's not uncommon for a lot of dogs to enjoy digging and destruction either in the house or in the backyard. So let's talk about some common reasons. So one of the common reasons that dogs tend to dig outside is you have critters in your backyard and they're very interested in these critters. They're trying to get to them. Another reason is genetics. So there are some dogs that are, it's more in their genetic makeup to actually want to dig. So your dachshunds, your terriers, that's what they were bred for. Boredom. Digging is something that is extremely fun for dogs. It's a natural behavior. So it also helps to release pent-up energy and stress. So it can actually be used as a coping mechanism. So when your dog doesn't really know what to do with themselves or to do with their time, they might resort to digging. It can also be attention seeking. Dogs are very, very great at learning what gets them attention and what doesn't get them attention. And if digging gets attention, then that's something they're going to continue doing. It can also be weather related. So sometimes dogs, if they don't have appropriate shelter in the backyard, they might be digging to find shelter, or they might actually be digging to find a place that's cooler. They're trying to escape the backyard. So sometimes dogs might try and dig holes under fences, or they get a little bit creative just because they want to roam and wander the neighborhood. And also they are burying their treasure. So when dogs are given or find a resource that is extremely precious and important to them, it's not uncommon for them to find a place to bury it. So this isn't just something that we see outside. We can also see it in the home too. Like if your dogs go and scratch at the carpet or rugs, or even try to bury things in blankets, that's what they're doing. So this is kind of a multi-tiered process because it's not necessarily a behavior that we can train out of dogs. So it is something that we can help manage, and we can do some training, but we also have to recognize that for a lot of dogs, there's a genetic component, there's a stress relieving, anxiety decreasing coping mechanism. It's just something fun for them to do. So we can train a little bit, but it's also management. So talking about the management side of things, so one thing that you can do is try to safely and humanely, if possible, either remove the critters from your yard or prevent access to the yard. So you can do all sorts of various creative things with fencing. Limit unsupervised time in the backyard if they're digging outside, or even in the house if they're digging in the carpet or something. So even you can put fencing around that. Provide adequate shelter and shade if that could be one of the reasons contributing to it. Like I said before, you can use fencing, cinder blocks, all sorts of creative ways to prevent them from getting to the space that they're digging in, but to also prevent the critters from coming into the backyard. Make sure that you ensure your dog is being provided with adequate and appropriate physical exercise. So sometimes this is just boredom. They have pent up energy. They don't know how to express it, so it comes out that way. And then also make sure that your dog is being provided with appropriate and adequate ways for mental enrichment and stimulation, and also ways in which they can appropriately participate in the digging behaviors. So we're not necessarily looking for the digging behaviors to disappear. We don't want to stop them. We want them to have appropriate ways to actually do them. So some activity suggestions that you can do to help your dog appropriately do their digging is scatter feeding, hide and seek with food either in the house or in the backyard. You can use snuffle mats, you can use licky mats. You can actually provide a specified dog digging area for them. There's all sorts of things that you can make. You can make just an actual pit, you can make a sandbox, you can bury things in there for them. There's really a lot of great things that you can do. Provide plenty of indoor opportunities for burrowing and also digging. So this is going to go back to the mental enrichment stimulation. So anytime your dog can actually dig and forage and scavenge for their food, that's going to be really helpful. For some dogs, it's actually having a bed that they can maybe dig and burrow into so they feel a little bit more safe and snuggly and secure. So from a training standpoint, what are some things that we can do is when you catch your dog in the act, use an interrupter cue, things like that, to interrupt the behavior of what they're doing and redirect them onto something else. The only problem with this is you really have to be on top of it. And I'm talking about like every single time. So as you can see, training can get a little bit tricky with this sometimes because you're not always going to catch your dog in the act of doing it. Redirect them to a different activity or redirect them over to their appropriate digging place or digging activity and reward them. Supervise outside time or time in the house in the areas where they might be digging, and also capture and reward them for being in those places but not digging. So remember, there's a lot of value in rewarding and capturing the good. Work on less explosive and emotional reactions when you do catch them digging. So when they're digging, like, bah, instead of freaking out, stay calm, cool, collected, and then encourage them to do something else. So while it can be bothersome and annoying, we have to remember that it's a natural behavior for dogs, not necessarily something we can train out, but there are alternatives that we can help our dogs learn better ways and better places of actually participating in this behavior. So it's a win-win. So your dog still gets to participate in the natural behavior, but now they're doing it in a designated and more appropriate space.